Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic I wanted to go over just to discuss how I went from a 2:43 to a 2:19 marathon. And I share this because I want all of you that are training for, regardless of what event you're training for, to stay consistent and to believe in what you're doing, because just because you are currently, maybe you're several minutes away from your current goal, or maybe you have a dream of qualifying for the Boston Marathon, or to break a 50-minute 10K, whatever it is you all are out there training to do, if you're consistent and you absolutely are locked in on what you want to do, you will definitely achieve what it is that you're dreaming about. But it's not going to be easy. My own story, I've shared a lot of my background on RunDreamAchieve.com. You can go to the About page that kind of discusses some of the history of how I got started in the sport. But I started running marathons in 2002. I ran my debut at the 2002 New York City Marathon as a part of a charity for lung cancer research. It was a team made up of military members, and we were starting in last place, which was 32,189th place. Chase Manhattan Bank was donating $1 for every runner that we passed. So I ended up finishing as the team's top finisher in 257th place in a time of 2 hours 51 minutes, and I think it was 53 seconds. But my net time was actually 2 hours 43 minutes and 36 seconds. That was my actual time, because the 251 was the time including the time where all the runners had crossed the start line. We weren't permitted to start the race until every runner in the race had already crossed the start line. So my finish time was 2:43:36. That was in 2002. And one of the biggest factors that helped me go from running a 2:43:36, which is 6:14 mile pace, down to 2:19:35, which is 5:19 mile pace, or 3:18 per kilometer, was running at faster paces in my long runs and continuing to train at paces that were significantly faster than between 450 under 450 mile pace to 5-minute mile pace in training. And that was doing combinations of repeat miles on the track, repeat 2 miles under 10 flat. But it took me from 2002 all the way to December of 2007 to go from 2:43:36 to 2:19:35. I ran 2:19:35 at the California International Marathon, finishing in fourth place and the top American in the race. A lot of you who watch my videos routinely already know this, but I state that for the new viewers who are seeing these videos for the first time or coming to the channel. It was like making the Olympic team. Obviously, for me, my goal was always to qualify for the Olympics, to get to that level, but I didn't quite have that amount of talent. But to drop that amount of time, to go and drop over 21 minutes, it took an enormous amount of time, effort, and dedication, just like you all are putting into your races. Okay, and my recommendation is just to believe in what you're doing and to keep your enthusiasm for your preparation. Don't get so bent out of shape over a few poor races or a few bad workouts that you've been having. Okay, again, if it becomes chronic, if you're feeling fatigued and you feel like you're just not getting faster, or you're losing enthusiasm for what you're doing, take some time away from the sport. Don't get so wrapped up in running and feeling as though your worth as a runner is based off of how fast you run in your races or in your workouts. Okay, I already know you all know how to work hard. The key thing is now for you to make big jumps in your training is to start training strategically. Okay, training, I already know you know how to work hard. Working smarter is much more difficult, because again, it takes a longer approach. You don't want to, sometimes when we want to work hard and we want to get our results quickly, we start to lose focus on the process of what goes into really performing at high levels. Okay, and it takes a great deal of time. Again, it's going to take you a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks for your body to adapt to the workouts you're doing today. Okay, so the workouts and hard work you're putting in today, the results you're going to see several weeks from now. Okay, so if you just started running, don't expect it to start feeling more automatic and really easy until a few weeks from now. Okay, And in terms of your goals, if you're trying to drop an hour off of your marathon time, which I've had athletes that literally had personal best of just over 4 hours break the 3 hour marathon. Okay. I've had other athletes take over 10 minutes off their 10K times and off of their 10-mile times. These big jumps in performances can happen in a matter of a few months, but in most cases, it just doesn't happen that quickly. Okay. It took me 5 years to drop over 21 minutes off my marathon time. Okay. And my marathon time was pretty competitive. 2:43 is still, you got to be in good shape in order to run that. 2:43 is not going to win most national marathon races, but it's going to be up there. 2:19 will win most major national races, a lot of national races, and some international races. Just depends on the competition. Again, most cases now, if you want to win Boston or the majors, any of the majors, Tokyo, Berlin, London, you got to run around 2:02 to 2:03. It's just not going to, a 2:19 isn't going to do it. But again, every athlete's different, and most of you have your own specific time goals in mind. I might be to break a 2:50 marathon, or maybe to break 5 hours for the marathon. Okay. But my story was I started running in 1992. I continued to develop and work on my speed. And again, it took me from 1992 really all the way up to 2007 to break that 2 hour and 20 minute marathon barrier. Okay, so that's the stuff that a lot of athletes don't see. And when you see these athletes out there, or when you see other athletes running faster than you, just be patient with yourself. Okay, I know I've worked with some athletes as well that really put a great deal of stress on themselves, and they belittle themselves because they didn't achieve their goal time in a matter of a few months. Okay, when really they dropped a really incredible time. An example of, I won't mention his name, but this guy ran a 4:32 marathon over one of the most difficult marathon courses, San Francisco. And he wanted to break 4 hours, but as I told him, running 4:32 over that course is pretty impressive. And in addition to that, it was hot conditions, and to go out there and to do that, I was truly impressed with that individual. And if he's watching this video, you definitely know who you are. But 4:32 in San Francisco definitely shows immense potential once you get tapered down and you find a flat, faster course. Okay, and again, no course is fast if the athlete's not in great shape. But these are just examples of athletes out there. We as athletes are highly competitive. I know when you're very fit and when you're really zoned in on your training and your preparation, you can get very locked in on, I got to continue to run fast. I got to continue to set new personal best, or I need to run these splits in training. And if you don't hit your splits, then you start to doubt yourself. Okay, when really it's just a matter of you just need a few more weeks of preparation. Maybe you need to take some time away from the sport. Maybe you've been training for too long of a buildup. Okay, again, this is key to take a minimum of 1 to 2 weeks off completely after a marathon, especially in these longer races. Or like a half, if you're running a half marathon and you're training for a marathon, I would probably jog or take 3 days off completely after a half marathon race, and then continue on with your buildup. Okay, so it's important to make sure that you're allotting that recovery time so that you can continue to stay motivated and continue to get better results in your training. The reason I was able to go from 2:43.36 to 2:19.35 was, again, continual, consistent, nonstop training and pacing myself and doing workouts well below 5-minute mile pace. That is what helped me to eventually run 26.2 miles at 5:19 mile pace. Even in that race, my splits were 51:27 through the 10-mile point, 107:09 through the half marathon. My current personal best is 107:06, so I was only 3 seconds off my personal best for the half marathon through the half marathon point in the race. 144:05 at 20 miles, which is 5:11 mile pace, and I was still running with the leaders. Many times I was in the lead. There was about 8 Kenyans, 1 Russian, and a guy from Canada, and I started falling off as we got further into the race. The Kenyans, some of the Kenyans dropped off. 2 of them held on to place first and second. Both of them ran 2:14. The Canadian ended up finishing third ahead of me in 2:16. I finished fourth in 2:19.35, and the Russian behind me finished in 2:23, and his personal best was 2:12. So, but going into that race, I had run 1:07.06 for the half marathon and 50:54 for 10 miles. So I knew I was capable of running a fast marathon. But going into that race, my personal best was 2:40.07 from the 2007 Grandma's Marathon. Even in that race, I went out in 1:10 through the half marathon. I was at 1:53 through 20 miles at the 20-mile mark in the Grandma's Marathon, which is 2:28 pace, and pretty much walked and jogged the last 10K. It was really a hot day and a learning experience for me as an athlete. And again, I share this not to impress anybody, because again, 2:19, it's an okay time, it's a strong time, but there's plenty of women out there, world-class women out there that can run faster than that, plenty of world-class men that can run much, much faster than that. But again, I share it with you all because I know you all are maybe several minutes away from your personal best, but you're seeing this goal that you feel right now is absolutely impossible, okay? It is possible, okay? 2:43 and 2:19 are massive jumps, massive differences in pacing, but for a lot of people that maybe are running 2:40s right now, breaking a 2:20 marathon maybe isn't even something they've thought about. Well, now is the time to start thinking about it, because if I can do it, you can do it, okay? And there's plenty of other athletes out there that have done it as well and have run even faster times, okay, dropped even more time. Okay, Brian Sell, an example. Brian Sell, I believe, was just under 10 minutes for 3,200 meters in high school. And he ended up running 2:10 for the marathon and making the U.S. Olympic team. Okay, so there's plenty of examples out there. Okay, and the key is not to, your goal may not be to become a world-class athlete, okay, but maybe it's to qualify for the Olympic trials, or maybe to qualify for the Boston Marathon, or to run an international marathon, or to start and finish your first marathon. Whatever goal you have in mind, and you're thinking about these crazy types of goals that you think are absolutely impossible, don't think like that, okay? Get your head revolved around going after this and really putting your heart and mind and effort into achieving what you want. So I hope this video is helpful for you all, and at least hearing from an athlete that went from 2:43 to 2:19, and I hope it inspires all of you guys and gals out there that are training to really start thinking about those types of goals that you think are absolutely out of your reach, because they still are in your reach. It might just take you much, much longer than a few months or a couple years to achieve it. Okay, your goal might to if you're trying to drop 20 minutes or an hour off your marathon, expect it may take 5 to 10 years to do that, but it is achievable. And I hope my story and my example of preparing for races inspires you. And I hope these videos that I get you in the right mindset to achieve what it is you're going for. So I wish you guys and gals all the very best in your training and preparation in your races and your future races. Definitely keep in touch with me. Leave me a comment below. Check out the resources below my videos, as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. They're there for you to help get you to the next level. And I will talk to you all in the next video.